Hello, guys, and welcome to episode 5 of Stories from the Remnant podcast. I'm glad you joined us today. As you can see, we have two very special guests here, and we'll go ahead and do our intros. I'm Brother Tanner.
I'm Brother Jeremy.
I'm Kristy.
I'm Randy.
And we hope you enjoyed this episode. And as always, please like, follow, and share it on all of our different social medias, and we'll see you. Hello, guys, and welcome again to episode 5 of Stories from the Remnant. I'm glad you could join us. Episode 5 already. I hope you've enjoyed our episodes so far. I can't believe we've made it this far, and we're going to keep giving you more as long as you keep watching. But as you can see, we have two special guests here today, Brother Randy and Sister Kristy Ford. So I guess we'll just jump right into it, as I always say. And we'll let you get us started on telling us just a little bit about yourselves. Whoever wants to go first can. Looks like Sister Kristy's going to start this out.
My name's Kristy. I am 46. Me and Randy have been together for a while. We've got 4 kids. We have son-in-law, daughter-in-law, 2 wonderful grandsons, and our first granddaughter on the way. And my life is around family and nursing. I've been nursing since high school, since I got out of high school. So, family, nursing, church.
Gotcha.
That's kind of how my life goes.
Brother Randy, let's hear about it.
I'm Randy, and I work at the Glasgow Water Company. Been there for almost 26 years, 1 year away from retirement. Let me throw that in there. Like she said, we have 4 kids. 2 grandkids, well, 2 and 3/4. We've got a granddaughter due next week. So, but yeah, we've been coming to church here for quite some time. So, we love it here.
He's the one you don't want to see on the water company because that means you ficking to have no water.
Yeah, you beat me to that joke. I was gonna say that Brother Randy's the one that turns your water off.
Yeah, he pulls up. You're like, oh,
somebody didn't pay the water bill when I show up.
So today's episode, I sent out the overview earlier in the week, and today's episode is going to be a lot about growing up. We've talked about ministry in a few of our past episodes and different things like that, but today's going to be about growing up. So the first question is, what was life like growing up?
Well, I'm an 80s child, so life was great. If anybody lived through the 80s, life was great. The music was great. Life was great. We didn't have video games. We had bicycles and neighborhood kids to play with all day long. So, in my opinion, that's a lot better than now.
Of course, I'm an 80s kid as well, and I feel like we spent a lot of time visiting.
1980s, let's specify. Could be 1880, I don't know.
1780s.
I can remember people coming over and sitting out in the yard and our parents being out there and, just spending hours together just talking. And, Sunday afternoons we would have, I can remember going to our grandparents' Sunday afternoon dinners. Life was it was different back then. We didn't have phones.
Yeah.
To distract everybody. So
And that's something you don't see a lot anymore. It's just sitting out talking. And if you do see people sitting out talking, there's always somebody on their phone, or I'm guilty of that too. You never see people just enjoying the moment and just sitting down talking much nowadays. And I feel like the church could use more of that too, honestly.
Just hard. We've become conditioned. I preached about that a couple weeks ago. We've become conditioned. It's hard. even me standing behind a pulpit and saying we need to do this, we need to do that, but we go home, what happens?
Yep.
Phones are out, kids are in their bedroom, TV's on, they got their little iPad or whatever this technology is. It's just it's definitely conditioned us to be so reliable on that stuff. And it has some good qualities, like this.
Yeah.
I.e. this.
So you talked a lot about being out in the yard, talking to family, and as you do that, you're influenced by so many people. You open the door to have more people that influence you in different ways. So who influenced you the most as a kid?
Well, I have to say it's my mom. My mom, if you know my mom, then you know why I say my mom. But she was always put God first in her life. And, at the time, did I see it? No. But as I grew older, yes, I saw that was the influence that I needed to be looking up to. And she's the one that really influenced me probably the most out of anybody.
Mm-hmm. How about you, Sister Kristy?
I guess the one that's influenced me the most would have to be my Aunt Gail. Kind of watching her as a young child, just how she carried herself, and she was a pastor's wife, and watching how she was with other people, how she talked to people, how she loved on people, and she cared about everyone no matter what. There was no bad people in her eyes. It was kind of like people make mistakes, but God gives grace, and just to watch her love on people and just always be so kind.
Yeah.
One other person, I thought about this today, actually, one other person that has been a big influence in my life was also my Uncle Timmy.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I come from a caring family, but he cared about everyone's soul.
Yep.
And that's just one thing, it just kind of, I was thinking about this today, and I was like, he never met a person that he didn't ask them, have you been saved? Do you go to church? Whatever, so that was a big influence of how kind of we need to be.
Yeah.
So
I couldn't wait to ask Brother Randy this question when I wrote it down, because I was thinking about Sister Portia, I was thinking about Brother Freddie, and I'll attach a picture in here for those of you that don't know him, but I was trying to think back. I wonder what childhood was like for Brother Randy, being around Sister Portia the way that she is. We all know her here at church, and Brother Freddie, if you go to church here, you know Brother Freddie as well. So, Randy, what was it like growing up with a mom like Sister Portia and a dad like Brother Freddie? What was that like?
Well, as far as mom was strict to certain extents for obvious reasons. I mean, you if you're going to be a good parent, you need to know what your kids are up to and all this. And she didn't allow the worldly stuff to come in our home. So, once again, that's why I, look up to her now, because I look back and she did just exactly what needed doing there. But, have you ever seen these type of people that was so hooked up with God that God told them everything? So, when I was a child, I was scared to get into very much because I was afraid God was going to tell her and she would know through him. So, that really held me back from some of the stuff I really probably wanted to do. But as far as her, she's ever since I can remember, she's been hooked up, her and God. So that's kind of kept me out of a lot of trouble, I would say. And as far as my dad, he was more so the disciplinarian.
Yep.
I mean, I'm talking about he was a military guy, so you can take from that what you want. So if there was any trouble, he handled it. And spanking was a thing back in the day, and he wasn't afraid to use it.
Speaking of the 80s.
Speaking of the 80s, that was a thing, and he let us know pretty often that if we needed it, we was going to get it. And whenever, they taught us that when we come to church to sit with, we had to sit with our parents. We didn't get to sit with our friends and run around and talking and running to the bathroom and stuff like that, because, I was brought up that church was a sacred place and you respect church. And you don't go to church and run around as a kid, just run around, hop seat to seat and all that. No, we had one seat between my parents, me and my brother, and that's the way it was. And wasn't any question if we could do anything different, because that was the way it was going to be every single time we were there. So Dad took care. Dad was the muscle of the family, and Mom was the brains, I guess you would say. So,
before we go anywhere, there's a story that I don't know if his brother Freddie told it or Sister Portia, but I can't, because I can envision it. Tell the story about how your mom and dad was gone to town or was leaving town, and y'all, brother one and brother two, decided they was going to go joyriding in the family car. So
Told him to tell the story.
now, before we tell the story, I have to know. I got to preface it by saying, does Sister Portia know about this now?
What?
About the joyride in the
She
car?
was with that.
So she does know.
Oh,
Okay.
100%.
All right. I couldn't remember the exact story. I couldn't remember if she knew or not, because I was going to give her a warning, like, hey, like, something's fixing to be told you didn't know.
No,
so.
she knew when it happened. She
All
was
right.
there.
All right, so let's hear it.
Okay. At the time, we lived in Scottsville. We lived in a subdivision in Scottsville. And so, anyway, Mom and Dad, one evening, were going to go to town for something. I don't remember where they went or what the... So, Dad had this really old car that you didn't even have to have a key to start it. You just turned the ignition and it would start, and we knew this. So me and my brother, he was 2 years older than me, so Mom and Dad left, and we decided, hey, we're going to go for a joyride. And I'm talking,
No.
I was like 8 and he was 10.
Oh.
And so we were just going to go around the block a couple of times, But surprisingly, Terry was the driver, so surprisingly, he knew how to do it. So I jumped in on the other side, ride shotgun. And we get about halfway around the block. Well, apparently Mom and Dad forgot something and they were coming back home.
Oh, no.
And so we, I could barely see over the dash. Terry was doing this to see over the steering wheel to drive. Well, we meet a car, and it was my mom's car. And I see an arm stick out the window doing like this, flagging us down to stop as we're meeting them.
Oh, no.
And I said, uh-oh, that's them. And so we stop. Dad stops beside of us, and he's like, where are you going, boys? And we're like, oh, we're just taking a cruise around the block. He said, I believe I would turn that car around and get it back home right now. So that ended our joyriding, and I can't really remember what took place when we got home. Maybe it was so bad I've just blocked it out of my memory.
It was all a blur from there.
It was a blur from there, but I do remember that incident, and yeah, it was we knew we had messed up bad. When you got a 10-year-old driver and an 8-year-old riding shotgun.
That's impressive. To me, I like the story because I can just envision it. But I also like the story that I'm impressed that a 10 and 8-year-old. Yeah. And I'm also impressed that Brother Freddie said, turn it around, drive it back
to the... get out and drive them back.
Yeah,
you do it yourself.
Like, well, you got here. I mean, I would be, I don't know. I get tickled every time I hear that story.
Yeah, it was a bad day at the Ford house. It was a bad day. But yeah, that one.
He said, I don't remember. When I came to myself.
Yeah, when I woke up in the hospital. But anyway, yeah.
So, speaking of that, other than being taught not to drive the car at 10 and 8 years old, what's something you were taught as a child that you will never forget? And this can go for you too, Sister Kristy. Go ahead.
One thing that just always sticks out to me, my mom, she taught us growing up to always be grateful. Mm-hmm. Because there is always someone else that has it worse off than you do. So, just be grateful, thank God for what you have, and, take care of what you have.
Brother Andy?
Yeah, I'm going to pretty much piggyback off what she has. Yeah, we were always taught to put God first. Always put God first. I mean, if you put God first in your life, everything else is going to pan out. It may not always go the way we think it's going to or whatever. But, try to make the best out of a bad situation. Pray your way through it. Stay faithful. Stay strong in the Lord. and everything would eventually work out.
Yeah. So now we're going to get into some relationship questions before we get into questions about church. I got a few different lists here, but we'll get into some relationship questions. So, I mean, first up, I guess the most simple is just how long have you been together, and then how did you meet?
Okay. We have been together probably over 18 years. Yeah. Been married for 17, a little over 17 years. And I'm going to let her tell how we met.
This could be good. Here we
go. So it kind of goes along with some of the next questions as well. But I was going through a season in my life that I was going through a divorce, and I had been raised in church and had 2 young kids. And whenever I came back home, I was under very strong conviction because I hadn't been going to church, and I knew that I needed to turn my life around. I needed to get everything right with God. I needed to live my life the way that in church and stuff for my kids. So we got back into church, and I mean gung-ho. Like, I was doing everything with the youth group and just everything that I could do with the church, just getting in there. Well, one day I was sitting in church beside my cousin, and look up, and he walks in. And I grabbed her by the leg, and I squeezed her leg, and I said, "Who is that?" And she said, "Oh, that's Sister Portia and Brother Freddie's son." And I said, "What? They have another son? Where did he come from?" She's like, "Well, you let go of my leg and I'll tell you." So, he just got my attention from the get-go. And he says I lusted after him for 7 months. And I did.
That's why he said that.
I colored my hair for the first time, everything, just trying to get his attention without just going up to him and talking to him. But this whole time, we're going to church together and stuff, and I had 2 young kids, was just going through a divorce, all this stuff going on. And it's like, God, if it's your will to place somebody in my life, then, this is on you, because I want to do it right. I want everything to be lined up, because my life before, I wasn't living it right. I wasn't in church, and, I was trying to fix some things in my life. And so finally we had a church function, and after church, Sister Portia was at the sink washing dishes, and I go over there to help her. And I said, "I like your son, right?" And she said, "Well, I kind of picked up on that." And I said, "I don't think he's picked up on that."
I'm a little slow sometimes.
So, it pretty much just came down to me telling his mama, "Hey, go home, tell your son that I like him, and he needs to call me, ask me out something, if he's interested." So, a few months went by, and then one night I finally got a phone call, and it was all history after that.
There you go. Was that your version of the story too, Brother Randy?
Well, she missed the part about how these baby blue eyes just won her over from the get-go. That's what she always tells the story. Yeah. So, apparently it was the eyes.
So, what is one thing that people may not know about you? We've heard the story about how you met. We learned a little bit about who you are, where you work, all these different things. But what's one thing that people here at church or people watching now might not know about you?
Well, I'm gonna say this. When I first started to come to church here, and of course me and Kristy started dating, I had been through a relationship, and I had went through a divorce and all that. So I had a lot of anger built up, and a lot of people probably don't know it now. I wasn't a really nice person back then. Because maybe I just had a chip on my shoulder because of past things that had happened or whatever. And I really had to work on my anger issues. I had a lot of anger issues, and even your mom told me here a while back about you was a really mean man back in the day. So I'm like, all right, well, tell me how you really feel. But I would just out of nowhere I would just snap and lose my cool, and God's really worked on me in that way, because I was, I would just fly off the handle, and it was stupid on my part. I've acted in ways that I'm ashamed of now, but I've had to really work on that, and God's really worked on me to get beyond that point. So there's probably people that look at me now and wouldn't think that, or I would hope so. I hope they don't relate me to that guy anymore. But that was one for me probably. Yeah.
I mean, that's just a picture perfect, thing that shows what God can do.
Absolutely.
I mean, when God comes into your life, there should be a change. And if there's not a change, then I would ask if you really got a hold of God or not. But
right.
I could preach on that. Brother Jimmy did a little bit this morning. But Sister Kristy, how about you? What's one thing that people may not know about you?
I'm a loner. I know, especially a lot of people in the family and stuff, they're like, you get her to talking, she will talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. That's only with my family, though. Really, I would rather just be in a corner by myself with a book or whatever. I like to have a lot of that alone time, and a lot of people can't see that with me. I've taught Sunday school, taught some nurse aid classes and stuff over the years, and it takes a whole lot for me to kind of get out of my comfort zone to step out in front of people.
Yeah. So we heard a little bit of your stories and some seasons you've been through during some of those questions, but what is a season you've been through that's really shaped who you are today?
Well, I would want to say probably when I lost my dad. When you lose somebody that you're really close to, it really makes you value life a lot more. Because I know we've all lost someone close to us probably before, and especially when you lose a parent, somebody who raised you, it's a hard blow. And so that whenever we lost him, it really opened my eyes to how precious life really is, because it could be gone so quick. That's something that nobody should take for granted. Your parents, your children, grandparents, whatever the case may be. If you have a loved one, let them know it.
Yeah.
Don't take for granted that they'll always be there, because that is a season that I went through that kind of shaped me into what I am now, or I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good lesson for everybody to learn, and we hear that throughout our entire lives of make sure that your loved ones know that you love them and that you're there for them. But sadly, a lot of people they have to learn that the hard way.
Right.
I mean, I think of my grandpa, for example. Like, he knew I loved him. I told him I loved him, but like, how many more times looking back do I wish I would have said it more? Just because. And if you think about it, sometimes you'll think about it and you never can say it enough.
Right.
But it's good that you say it as often as you can. So a couple questions about church before we get into the next segment here is, how long have you been coming to church here? We've heard a little bit. We can put a guess on it, but how long have you been coming to church here?
I came back in 2007.
19 years.
Brother was a baby, so it's been 18, almost 19 years.
Yeah.
because that was the time of my life that, I'm like, I've got to get in. I've got to get rooted and grounded.
Yeah.
And it was actually at the storefront church.
Yeah.
So, it wasn't long after that, Randy started coming with his parents. And, we've been here ever since.
Yeah. So what first brought you here? Other than just, seeking God, was there something in particular about this church that brought you here? Or?
For me, I was under conviction, because I was raised in church and knew I needed to be in church, and I wasn't living my life the way that I should. So I lived an hour away, and then I moved back home to my mom's, and it was family.
Yeah.
It was where my family went. I felt comfortable there. I knew people would love me and not judge me.
Mm-hmm.
And I had 2 small kids. So, my family, a lot of my family's in church. And, I knew they were going to love me and not judge me. And that was a big thing at that time.
I've got to say it. I'm cracking up over here.
I was going to save it for the end, but you can go ahead. Go ahead.
For the record, Brother Randy has nothing in that cup, but he's really drinking away.
I'm trying to look like a cool coffee drinking guy, but I don't drink coffee.
Everybody's
trying to
up here.
blend in with the crowd.
Sorry.
It was in a serious part of the story too, and I was trying to hold it in.
Yeah, I was trying.
I told him to bring a drink for his mug, and he forgot one, so he said he was going to fake it. So
Make it. Do you make it? I don't know.
I had to, yeah. So
Lord.
I guess the more important question, we've talked about church and how long you've been here and what brought you here. And I guess an important question I asked Sister Felicia and Brother Donnie this is what keeps you here? What about this church keeps you here that you like?
Well, from when I first started coming 18 plus years ago, from the get-go, my parents came to church. They're here anyway, but when I went through a divorce, I moved in with them for a short time to kind of get back on my feet, and out of respect for them, I went to church with them, which something I should have been doing all along, but I had gotten out of church for several years before that. So when I started coming with them, I finally felt like I found a church that was on fire for God. And so I kept attending, and everybody from this church was so welcoming. I've never been to a church that made you feel as welcome as what this one does. As a matter of fact, our pastor here has got a saying, what is it, the first time you come, you're a visitor, the second time, you're family. And that's exactly how they made me feel. Little did I know, not long after that, I would marry Kristy and then literally would be part of the family because she's kin to most everybody here. Her cousin is Brother Jeremy's wife. Brother Tanner's mom is her cousin as well. So it's kind of like we just one big family. And then the ones that's not biologically kin,
They're still kin.
They feel like family, and they are family because people make you feel welcome, and whether you're related to them or not, it's the most welcoming church that I've ever been to, and I've always felt blessed because Kristy's family, I'm just as close with all of them as I am my own family. We get together and have cookouts and get together, and we've went on cruises together before, and so it's I guess the welcome and the way people love the Lord here kind of has always kept me coming back. So
yeah. And it doesn't have to be this church, but there's one thing I do want to say is when you attend the church, I feel like it should feel like family.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, even if you're not biological or kin, let's say by blood, you are all part of God's family.
Right.
And you should be able to call upon anyone in the church. And I feel like at this church I can. I feel like if I ever needed something, I could call anybody in this church that sits in any seat, and they'd be there for me. Sure. Not just leadership, not just family, but that goes for anybody. So if you're not attending a church, little plug here, we'd love to have you here. But if you are attending a church, make sure that you are, bonding and getting close to the people in your church, because I feel like that's really important.
Right.
Very important.
So 2 questions before we get into our story time, going back to your relationship. So what is one word? If you could use one word to describe your spouse, what would it be? And I was hesitant to write this question, but I wrote it anyways. So what's one word to describe your spouse? Whoever can start, can start.
Talkative. She says she'd rather be a loner, but we all know different. She likes to talk. She likes to talk a lot. We all know this. Talkative is my word for her.
And I want to throw something in here too, and Brother Randy knows what I'm fixing to say probably, is that if you tell Kristy to tell you a story, or if she begins to tell you a story, and this might get into the pet peeve later, I don't know, but she will tell every single detail of the story. So if she was going to tell about this podcast, she would get down to what color the floor was, what color the table was, what everybody was wearing. She's very, very detailed when it comes to telling stories.
Yeah,
Yes.
You got to be detail oriented.
So one word to describe your spouse, Sister Kristy.
He's just peachy.
Peachy.
If you know, you know.
Well,
And you don't know, I don't think. So I'm just gonna leave it at that, and you can ask him.
he's peachy.
He's very caring, but yeah, he's just peachy.
And that peachy might get into the pet peeve as well. I'm not going to spoil it. We might save it for a future podcast or let Brother Randy tell you. But you can ask him about the peaches later on.
I'll go ahead with my pet peeve.
All right, Sister Kristy,
He
pet
told
peeve.
me last night he's a reformed harker.
Okay.
You trying to get all this stuff up out of your throat and stuff. And so last night he told me and his mom, he said, I don't do that as much anymore. I'm reformed. I said, okay. All right. Well, that would have been my pet peeve. But whenever I think about it, he collects a whole lot of things that he does not need.
Oh.
One day I may need it, and I'll have it when I do.
Like if anybody ever, I know that Randy, he does have a unicycle. Like if anybody ever needs a unicycle, like Brother Randy's got one. Or if you ever need tape, he's got a roll of tape that's bigger than his table.
It'll last a lifetime, though. We'll never run out of tape.
I have borrowed some stuff from him, like a metal detector. I don't know why he's got metal, but hey, I was a big fan. It helped me out. I think the other day, most 90% of the church got fingernail clippers that he had bought. I don't know.
For Christmas. No, he brought them home. They were for Christmas. I gave them out to everybody.
Everybody got 3 pair in my car right now. So I'm not complaining. I'm just saying.
One time I gotta tell. Well, I'm just gonna go ahead and tell it. He said that Sister Kristy couldn't tell it, but I guess I'm gonna tell it. The 2 things that I know about Brother Randy that he's brought home or collects. Number 1 was there was one time, didn't he bring home like a 1970s or 80s like vacuum cleaner?
Okay, I've got to tell this story. Okay, last year for our anniversary, we have 2 rooms in our house that have carpet. We have several vacuum cleaners already. So me and my daughter in the basement, we're talking about getting rid of some stuff. She wanted to redo some stuff. And he come in and I turn around and I heard him and I look up and he's got this big smile on his face. It was our anniversary. And he said, I got you something. I said, really? Because we don't buy anniversary gifts. And I said, well, I wasn't expecting anything. What did you get me? He brought in, to him, it was the grandest thing ever. It was a 1975 Kirby vacuum cleaner that he had bought at an estate sale for $5, and he thought it was engraved in gold. It was the greatest thing.
Cleaner we own today.
I said, are you kidding me? Why? What? Get rid of it. We have 2 rooms with carpet. Get rid of it. no, this is the best thing ever. So yeah, we have an old stand-up Kirby vacuum cleaner that
For all of you newly married gentlemen, do not
buy anything in a state sale.
a vacuum
that-
cleaner for anniversary.
Do not buy your wife a vacuum cleaner.
That's funny.
And the second thing I was going to get into that Brother Randy collects, he said that Sister Kristy couldn't say it, but I guess I can, is peach boxes. That's why she called him Peachy.
He eats them every day as well.
He eats these little peaches.
Oh, you like peaches?
The
Oh,
cups.
yeah.
Cups of peaches.
Oh, the little
Yeah.
Del Monte cups.
Yeah.
So if you go in Brother Randy's garage, I bet he's got, what,
50.
and you
at
save
least
the
50
boxes?
peach boxes.
50.
Okay. I kept a couple of boxes from the get-go. Just, you never know when you're going to need a box, a small
true.
box.
That's fair.
That is
fair
true.
statement.
Well, she started fussing about it, so I just got to collecting them. I'm like, let's just see how far we could go with this. Well, when you eat peaches every single day, you accumulate a lot of boxes. And for the record, there's more than 50 there, I promise you.
Oh my goodness.
But she always makes fun of me about collecting these boxes. But you know what? When Christmas comes along and she opens up a gift that's in one of them peach boxes, she's not fussing that day.
Yeah.
Yes,
So-
I am.
So peaches in juice or the syrup.
Yeah.
I don't like peaches.
Oh,
Oh, no.
that's a sin.
No, peaches.
Peach,
Ugh.
any way you can go.
I
like
love
peach cobbler. I don't no.
anything with peach in it. I love it.
Peach flavored? No.
I could eat. I started to say I could eat peaches every day, but I do.
He does.
So yeah,
Every day.
Pineapple? I can do pineapple.
I can't do
He
pineapple.
doesn't like
Really?
No.
So I don't think I asked him. Brother Randy, what's your pet peeve?
Well, I got a couple.
Here we go.
I got a couple that I'll mention. I believe me, I got a lot more. But we need to keep this on a time limit. So, and one of them is running late. My wife, this morning for church, we live in Cave City, at least 10 minutes from
Yeah,
church.
it's a 10-minute drive, yeah.
We leave at 5 minutes till 10 to get here. At my calculations, that gets you there 5 minutes late. But I drove the speed limit. But if I drive over the speed limit, she's fussing at me. But I'm only doing that to make up time lost from,
Yeah.
And the other thing is while she's telling a story, she says, listen. As if you weren't listening up to that point, she's going to remind you to listen. And her sister does this too. And the other day they were talking back and forth, and this one's listen, and that one's listen. And I'm thinking, well, everybody in here's listening, but they remind you to listen while the story's going on in case you drifted off. I guess at some point it was time to tune back in when she says listen. But she does listen all the time. And I didn't really think about that pet peeve till last night when she was talking to me. She told me to listen. I'm like, oh, there's another pet peeve. There's one I'll put.
All right. So this is, I've said this 100 times, this is probably my favorite part of the podcast coming up next. So we live in the South. We all attend church. And this is just the best part about Southern storytelling. I was telling our family in Ohio about how if you listen to the podcast, a lot of it is Southern storytelling. And to explain a little bit about what Southern storytelling is, it's like, we get detail, but people in the South have a funny way of just telling stories. They have different sayings they say, and people in the South, I just feel like, tell better stories. They don't, they just do. So we're going to get into one or two of your favorite church stories that you have seen happen. So whoever wants
Listen.
Y'all listen.
Y'all listen up closely. We're going to get into some Southern church stories. So whoever wants to go first can.
Okay, I already got the mic. So this is one I really had to think about a lot because, when you've been going to church for a long time, I'm sure there's a lot. But this one I just thought was fitting. And this one involves you, Tanner.
Oh, no.
Tanner's got this thing that whenever, if he's going to preach, he writes all his notes down, which is common, You want to, God gives you something, you want to write it down, and you can kind of run off the notes while you preach, whatever. But if Tanner ever messes up on one word, then he scraps that paper and he starts all over again. Because even though he's the only one that's going to read it, it's not right. There's something wrong with that. So he starts all over. So probably about a month ago, maybe a little more, I was running the camera in the back, and Brother Tanner was singing. Well, his little girl Jenny comes up there, and there's a box of crayons and his notes. Yep. And I said, Jenny, here, you want to color? So she decided that she was going to color on that paper. Well, I kind of encouraged her as well, because I knew that he was going to have a come apart. So after the singing, which he wasn't preaching that day, but he was preaching that night, if I remember right.
Yeah, it sounds right.
And he comes back there, sits down, looks down at his notes, and he's like, oh no. Well, I lost it, because I'm like, this is great. He's going to have to do this all over again. I mean, he's got everything all nice and neat, written, and all the periods and commas in the right places and everything, and then coloring marks all over it. Well, I hope she didn't get in trouble for it, because I put her up to that one, but it was funny. It was so funny.
We didn't get in trouble. I didn't know you put her up to it, though. See, I just thought she had done it. So I'm just now finding out for the first time that she was put up to it. And B, I think I sat back there. I probably couldn't tell you, as bad as it sounds, I might not be able to tell you what Brother Jeremy preached that day, because I was back there rewriting my notes the entire service for Sunday night.
Listen. You had to redo
them. So, you got another one, or is that it?
That's my one.
All right, Sister Kristy.
All right. So, I've got a couple, but the first one, since Sister Felicia was on here last week, we're cousins. And we grew up together in church, and whenever we were young, we were rowdy kids, very, very rowdy kids. So one Easter morning, we were going to church at Free Bethel here in Cave City, and we were in Sunday school that morning. We were probably about 7, 8. I don't know what really we were doing, but we were looking out the window, and these windows were very low to the ground. Like, I'm talking just very few feet from the ground, but we had that window up, and she's really looking, and I just took it upon myself just to give her a little push and pushed her out the window of the Sunday school room. Well, then she came in, and she got the look from Uncle Jeff, and Aunt Sandra was upset because in the process she tore her pantyhose.
Oh, no.
On Easter morning, and she had to explain how she got outside when she's supposed to have been in the Sunday school room. So, we really, really, really laughed about that.
Yeah, I've heard some stories amongst all my older cousins where they just got into some crazy things, especially, and most of them involve church. It's at some point. So I'm the youth leader here now, so I mean, some of the things these kids do might seem crazy, but I can only imagine being over the youth back then.
We got into some stuff.
I wouldn't know how to handle it. Is that your only story? We got another one.
I've got one more on Randy. We were here at church one day, and it was a Sunday afternoon, if I'm not mistaken. I want to think maybe we were having choir practice or we were working on something here at the church.
Oh, I remember this.
Well, Randy is terrified of mice. Absolutely terrified.
And so am I.
So my cousin he was really bad about picking on everybody. Well, he had gotten this toy mouse and tied some fishing line to it. And I don't know how, but he got it tied to the back of Randy's pants and hollered at him, Randy, there's a mouse. So Randy goes running down the aisle in the middle of the church. Now, church is not going on. We're just up here doing something. Running down the aisle, and the mouse is tracing him. Well, he gets right at the back door, not thinking, turns around, and pulls the pow-pow on the mouse. And then he realizes where he's at and what he's doing.
That was a life or death situation. My life was threatened.
The mouse was not real. But he
Well,
was...
I didn't know that. It
He was
chasing me. How
running.
did I know it wasn't real?
That was hilarious that day. Yeah, he was going to shoot the fake mouse.
In the church.
In the church.
Yeah.
we have. They told me it's been probably, I don't know, I guess about three and a half years ago. I was preaching, and I don't like mice. I don't know who's more terrified, Brother Randy or myself.
It's close.
It's pretty close. I can pick them up after they're dead.
No.
So I think I'm not as quite as bad, but it's pretty rough for me too. So anyway, evidently there was one that was coming out of the music room, and he'd run out almost to that front pew and run back. Had I seen it, church would have been dismissed immediately. I would have stopped. I know I get carried away in the anointing. We would have dismissed. We've got that solved. We had a small infestation for about a month, and we took care of that.
Do you remember the time that we were working on something, maybe Bible school, and me and you went to the building to carry something out, like a board of some sort, and there was a mouse on top of it, and it was running back and forth. You had one end of it, and I had the other.
The worst two people.
Yeah.
I don't go to that building right now.
Don't know that I've been in that building since.
No.
Listen, y'all listen.
Yeah.
I don't do mice.
So, I mean, I was sitting here thinking about all the past episodes we've done, first 4, and we've heard some pretty good and crazy church stories. So, I mean, if you enjoy these, another plug here, and you want to be a part of some of these church stories, I mean, come be a part. You might be a part of a story one day, too. You never can tell. So, next segment. It's now time for Tanner's Top 3. And today's Tanner's Top 3, since we talked about growing up a little bit earlier in the episode, and I want to talk about our top 3 childhood TV shows. And I know for you 3, it's going to be a lot different than my 3. But that's the whole point of Tanner's Top 3. So we'll start with Brother Jeremy. Your top 3 favorite childhood TV shows.
Do you want them in order?
Doesn't matter.
Yeah. I think for me, I would have to say number 3 would have to be Family Matters.
Okay.
Steve Urkel. Big fan. Number 2 would have to be Full House.
Okay.
Like Full House. And my number 1 was Saved by the Bell.
Saved by the Bell.
Saved by the Bell. Screech, Zach,
Yep.
all of them, Slater. Yeah.
I've seen all 3 of those, but not very much. But I mean, at least I do know what those 3 shows are. Mm-hmm. So, Sister Kristy, your top 3 favorite childhood TV shows.
Well, I was thinking he was looking at my notes over here.
No,
because I've gone down Full House and Family Matters.
Oh.
And at the time, Friday nights were a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
TGI Friday.
TGI, yeah.
Yeah, TGI. But the other 2 shows that came on, they just kind of came and went. But my other big one was probably the Looney Tunes.
The Looney Tunes.
Saturday morning Looney Tunes.
Yes, we love the Looney Tunes.
Iconic, yes. Saturday morning cartoons.
That's when cartoons are really good cartoons. Yeah. You wake up on Saturday morning and watch cartoons because that's the only day they come on. Mm-hmm. Back then, you only had, sometimes, some people just had 3 channels. So, and you look forward to that Saturday morning and hope to goodness Mom and Dad didn't have plans to go anywhere because that was the Saturday morning routine. Yep. That was the thing.
Yeah. I mean, Looney Tunes, the only time I ever remember watching Looney Tunes was on, we had Boomerang. I think Looney Tunes came on Boomerang, maybe, or Cartoon Network every once in a while.
This one, it was mainstream.
Yeah, see, the cartoons that I watched were that were older were on Boomerang, like Wacky Races and Tom and Jerry and Looney Tunes. But I was never a part of that whenever it was the mainstream cartoon.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So
main network.
Yep. Yeah. Brother Randy, top 3 childhood TV shows.
Okay, this is going to show my age. So I'm here because this goes back. But there was never, ever a show created any better than the Dukes of Hazzard. The Dukes of Hazzard I lived for this show. Friday night, 7 o'clock, Channel 5. If I had plans, they got canceled that night because that was Dukes of Hazzard night. So Dukes of Hazzard was always definitely going to be number one. And I was a big Three Stooges fan.
Three Stooges.
I love Three Stooges. Now, that was way before my time, black and white and all, but I loved it. And we'd always get in trouble as kids because we'd always run around acting like the Three Stooges, and then we'd get smacked in the head and tell us to act right because we tried to do some of the stuff that they tried to do. But anyway, yeah, Three Stooges was always a good one. And there was another one, it's kind of probably not as popular with some, but it's called Good Times.
Yeah.
And that was probably a 70-some show or whatever, but loved it.
Good times.
So that's my three.
Who was that?
That was J.J. Evans, the tall, lanky black fellow that...
Dynamite.
Okay. Dynamite.
Dynamite. Yep. Dynamite.
So for those of you that weren't going to church here back in the day, we need to do this again sometime, but we had a game show where I dressed up like Gilligan from Gilligan's Island. I still have the outfit if I can find it. We'll have to do it again, but we did a contest where we had to name all of the TV show theme songs. It was one of my favorite game nights. So
That was great.
I was listening to y'all shows. We've got to do that again.
Yeah, we do definitely do that.
So my top three are a lot different. I went back to like early in my childhood when I was like a baby for a couple of these. So number one, we'll start with three. Number three, Barney. I was a big Barney fan.
You was a big
I had
Barney
a big
fan.
purple dinosaur. I think that Jenny plays with it at Nanny still to this day. But I was a big fan of Barney. Number two, a little bit later in life, I would get off the school bus at my grandma's restaurant. We would go to the back in their apartment. And every afternoon, iCarly came on. Anybody know what iCarly is?
Yeah, it was a girl show, if I remember
Randy
right.
calls it a girl show.
I never watched it.
Miranda Cosgrove and Jeanette McCurdy, and I can't think of the guy's name. His name on the show was Freddie, and you had Gibby. But anyways, iCarly. I watched iCarly like every afternoon when I got off the bus. I'm sure there's some people my age that are watching. Maybe they will know what iCarly is.
All of you young ladies that is his age that watch that.
Maybe I'm the only guy that watched it. I don't know.
You were.
Probably so.
And then it actually came, they put the episodes on Netflix, I think it was, not too long ago, and I was like even watching some then. But anyways, iCarly. And then number one, and I played this on the GameCube at Brother Jeremy's house when I was a kid. I had a room decorated for this cartoon, and it was Scooby-Doo.
Oh, I love Scooby.
Yeah, number one is Scooby-Doo.
Yes, yes.
Probably specifically like What's New Scooby-Doo. Like that was a good
See,
one.
I feel like if we did cartoons, probably we can do cartoons sometime.
Yeah. Mine was...
I went more of the...
Yeah,
TV.
but my problem was when I was a child, there wasn't really any... Like, there wasn't the Good Times and Full Houses. Like, there wasn't really...
It kind of...
That wasn't really a thing for me. So it was cartoons or like shows like iCarly or Hannah Montana or some of those. That's So Raven, which Randy would call girl shows, I guess. But
I think all three you just named was... Yes.
I only knew of girls to watch those shows. You're the first guy that I've heard that actually was hung up on these type shows, but hey,
I had to watch something.
it is what it is.
So yeah, that would be my favorite or top three childhood TV shows. So now I have no idea what Brother Jeremy's going to get us into, but we'll go into Jeremy's Gone But Not Forgotten. Was that better for you?
That's a little better. Yeah.
We'll work on it.
You work on it a little bit more. So today, I have thought about this over the week, and I don't know that a lot of people is going to remember this, but being as I am hefty in size, I'm going to food today, and it's a cookie that the best I've searched it and I cannot find it. If anybody out there knows where you can get it, let me know. But it was my favorite cookie growing up. My dad would get it, and he would not. He would hide it because he knew we loved them. But they were called Danish wedding cookies.
Danish wedding cookies.
Did they
I
did
cannot
they come
find
in little little
Pink.
papers and
No, they come in it was made by Keebler.
yeah.
And these cookies are amazing, first off. They're about the size of a silver dollar, a golf ball.
Like a tin or can like a
No, they may have, but when I remember them, they come in a bag, a pink bag made by Keebler, and they're dusted with powdered sugar, and they're about the size of a golf ball,
That's not
thin.
what I was thinking. I'm not sure what you're
And
talking
then Brother Tanner can look it up. You can find it on. You can look it up, and
I'll
we'll
post some
post
pictures for
post
sure.
some pictures. I cannot find these. Houchins was the last place, a little place around here that we used to get them. When we went from the bag, and they finally got to the top shelf. When you go to the top shelf and you go from 2 to 1, that means you fixing to go. That's how because I worked in retail, and it's you have your chocolate chip cookies, your Oreos, your favorite ones either bottom or this shelf or the middle shelf, and they'll have. And then as it starts, and then I knew it was just a matter of time. So now I cannot find them anywhere, but they were amazing.
And they were called Danish wedding
cookies. Keebler made them, and I cannot find them. They went to a box later on after the bag. They went to a box about that thin, stood about that tall, and I love them things.
So were they served at weddings? Is that the reason why they were called
I have
wedding
no
cookies?
idea.
Oh,
I don't know. My grandmother made them at
Oh.
Christmas time in Indiana.
homemade Danish
Yes.
wedding cookies.
Oh, that'd be good.
So
I don't even know what's in them.
I think we have a recipe.
I have no idea what's in
Between
them.
me and James Raymond, we might have a recipe.
There you go.
Well, Danish wedding cookies, and there's going to be a lot of people like, I don't know what he's talking about, but you'll be able to find a picture of them, and you can put
They
it on
were
there. They'll-
messy.
Yeah,
They were kind of
were.
like eating a powdered donut.
Yeah, they were messy, but I love them things, and I've not been able to buy them. But
So gone but not forgotten, the Danish wedding cookies.
it's probably the most dull gone but not forgotten that we've had. Episode 5, we'll do better. Episode 6,
somebody
but,
will remember them out
but,
there.
I mean, I just where my mind went to when I was thinking gone but not forgotten.
So now we'll have a couple more segments to get into. Just a real quick segment here. Our gym update. We've not did it for a couple weeks.
Yep.
So what do you have the update is on about the gym?
Well, hopefully there'll be we'll have a Facebook Live as well pretty soon come out. But so far we have got the again the footers were dug and poured, and then we've got the rock bed, half the rock bed laid down, and we've got our roughed in plumbing. So we're going to do a live pretty soon to show where we've got. We are hoping that we are getting the forms done this next week. To start pouring the pad. Hopefully in 2 weeks we will have the pad poured. And after the pad pours, we'll start seeing some walls go up. So we're moving. It's going to go fairly fast. I think it's going to go fast at first, and then we're going to really take our time. I don't want to drag it out, but we're going to take our time on as far as when you get inside to see what's best to do. We're excited, nervous as well, but we're it's coming along.
Awesome. So now, before we close, we'll get into our devotional. We're doing it a little bit different this week, and I might start doing it this way from now on. But have Brother Randy and Sister Kristy send us one each of their favorite Bible verse just to discuss for, a minute or two. So the first one, I think, came from Brother Randy, John 15:13. Was that one yours?
Yep.
And it was, greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends. Last Sunday, me and Sister Felicia both actually used this in our messages. And I think it's just a perfect encapsulation of what Jesus did for us. Verse 13, like I said, greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends. And then the very next verse is what I focused on, which the very first line of that verse says, ye are my friends. And it's just so amazing how God sent his son down here to die for our sins, even though none of us deserved it. But it just shows how amazing God's grace is. Anything that anybody wants to add to that one?
I think you said it good.
All right. And then Psalms 28:7 says, the Lord is my strength and my shield. My heart trusted in him, and I am helped. Therefore my heart greatly rejoiceth, and with my song will I praise him. I think it's important to realize that God is always there for us when we need him. We can call on him no matter what we're going through. He'll be your strength. He'll be your shield, as the verse says there. And I want to focus on that last line. And with my song will I praise him. Mm-hmm. A lot of times people know that God's there for them, and they know to call on God to be there for them. But yet, every time they have the opportunity to praise God or worship God like they should, they don't. They don't thank God like they should. They don't sing to God like they should. They don't raise their hands or worship God the way they should. And, you know, we have to be thankful for what God has done for us. Like I said on that last verse, we don't deserve any of it, but yet God is still here for us.
Right.
So, that'll do it for episode 5 of Stories from the Remnant. I'm glad you joined us again. Please don't forget to like and share and follow us on all of our social medias on Spotify, Facebook, and on YouTube. But until next time, I've been Brother Tanner.
I'm Brother Jeremy.
Kristy.
Brother Randy.
And we'll see you next time on episode 6, Stories from the Remnant.